Darkness. The sound of waves crashing against ancient stone. For a moment, nothing but the endless black of the deep. Then, a flicker of torchlight illuminating a wall covered in strange, swirling symbols. Somewhere, far below the surface of the Mediterranean, a secret waits to be uncovered. Imagine, you are standing at the entrance of a labyrinth, the air thick with salt and the scent of forgotten incense. Shadows dance along the walls, and every step echoes with the memories of a civilization lost to time. This is not just a ruin. It is a riddle, a doorway to a world where myth and history collide. For centuries, explorers, scholars, and dreamers have searched for Atlantis, the legendary city swallowed by the sea. But what if the truth was never lost, only hidden beneath the sun-baked stones of Crete? What if the real Atlantis was the kingdom of the Minoans, masters of the Labyrinth, keepers of secrets that still haunt our dreams? The Mediterranean, for 1,000 years ago, was a crossroads of gods and mortals, of merchants and pirates, of legends and reality. On the island of Crete, the Minoans built a civilization that dazzled their neighbors and confounded their enemies. Their palaces rose from the earth like visions. Knossos, Phaistos, Malea, each one a maze of corridors, courtyards, and hidden chambers. The walls were alive with color. Dolphins leaping through waves, lilies blooming in the sun, acrobats soaring over the horns of sacred bulls. But beneath the beauty, there was power and mystery. The Minoans worshipped a goddess older than Olympus, a mother of snakes and storms, whose gaze promised both life and death. Her priestesses moved through the palaces like shadows, their rituals shrouded in secrecy. In the heart of Knossos, it is said, lay the labyrinth itself, a place where the boundary between the mortal and the divine grew thin, and where the greatest secrets of the Minoans were guarded by the Minotaur, half man, half beast. Was the labyrinth real? Or was it a symbol, a map of the mind, a journey into the unknown, a warning to those who would seek forbidden knowledge? The Greeks would later tell tales of Theseus and Ariadne, of heroism and betrayal, but the truth is more elusive. Archaeologists have uncovered twisting corridors and hidden rooms beneath Knossos, but the purpose of these spaces remains a riddle. Some believe they were designed to confuse invaders. Others, that they were stages for sacred dramas, reenacting the eternal struggle between chaos and order. The Minoans were masters of the sea. Their ships, sleek and swift, sailed as far as Egypt and the distant shores of Anatolia. They traded tin and copper, the lifeblood of the Bronze Age, and their influence spread across the Aegean like ripples in a pond. Yet for all their power, the Minoans built no walls around their cities. Did they feel protected by their gods? Or did they possess secrets that made them untouchable? Their technology was astonishing. The palaces of Crete boasted running water, advanced drainage systems, and frescoes that shimmered with life. Jewelry of gold and precious stones adorned the elite, while artisans crafted pottery so fine it was prized in distant lands. But perhaps the greatest mystery is their writing. The script known as linear remains undeciphered, a silent language holding stories, prayers, and perhaps warnings that we may never understand. As the centuries passed, the Minoans grew wealthy and powerful. Their festivals drew crowds from across the sea, and their art celebrated the cycles of nature, the dance of life and death. But with prosperity came danger. The world beyond Crete was changing. New powers were rising, and the earth itself was restless. On the nearby island of Thera, modern-day Santorini, a volcano stirred. The ground trembled, and the sky darkened with ash. When the eruption came, it was like the wrath of the gods unleashed. Tsunamis swept across the sea, smashing ships and flooding cities. Ash rained down on Crete, poisoning the land and shrouding the sun. The palaces of Knossos, Phaistos, and Malea were damaged, their walls cracked, and their people scattered. Was this the disaster that ended the Minoan age? Or was it only the beginning of their downfall? Some believe the eruption of Thera was the inspiration for Plato's tale of Atlantis, a mighty civilization destroyed in a single day and night. The parallels are uncanny: the wealth, the power, the sudden cataclysm. But others argue that the truth is more complex. The Minoans survived the eruption, but their world was forever changed. Trade routes shifted, rivals grew bolder, and the once invincible kingdom began to unravel. Yet, even as their power waned, the Minoans clung to their mysteries. Their rituals grew more secretive, their art more haunting. In the ruins of Knossos, archaeologists have found evidence of desperate times, sacrifices, perhaps even human, offered to appease angry gods. The Labyrinth, once a symbol of order, became a place of fear. And then, almost overnight, the Minoans vanished. Their palaces were abandoned, their cities fell silent. The Mycenaeans, warriors from the Greek mainland, moved in, taking what they could and leaving the rest to rot. The memory of the Minoans faded into legend, their secrets buried beneath layers of ash and time. But the story does not end here. The ruins of Crete still whisper of lost glory. The frescoes, though faded, still pulse with life. The labyrinth, whether real or imagined, still beckons to those who seek the truth. And the question remains, what do the Minoans know that we have forgotten? What secrets did they guard so fiercely, and why did they vanish so completely? As night falls over the Mediterranean, the waves crash against the shore, and the wind carries the scent of salt and mystery. Somewhere, beneath the earth, the answers wait to be found. But to uncover them, we must be willing to enter the labyrinth, to face the darkness, the silence, and the unknown. The journey has only just begun. The night deepens over Crete, and the labyrinthine corridors of Knossos seem to pulse with secrets. Somewhere, a torch flickers, casting monstrous shadows on painted walls. The silence is broken only by the distant echo of waves and the soft, rhythmic beat of a drum. Perhaps a ritual, perhaps a warning. For the Minoans, the boundary between the sacred and the everyday was thin, and every shadow might conceal a god, a spirit, or a memory of something lost. In the heart of the palace, a priestess moves silently, her footsteps muffled by ancient stones. She carries a bowl of burning incense, the smoke curling upward in hypnotic patterns. Her eyes are fixed on the darkness ahead, as if searching for answers in the void. Around her, the frescoes come alive. Bulls leap, dolphins swim, and strange symbols spiral across the walls. Each image is a fragment of a story, a clue to a puzzle that has never been solved. The rituals of the Minoans were shrouded in mystery. Some say they worshipped the mother goddess above all, offering her honey, grain, and the blood of bulls in ceremonies that echoed the cycles of nature. Others whisper of darker rites, of sacrifices made in times of crisis, when the earth shook and the sea rose up in fury. Archaeologists have found altars stained with ancient blood and bones buried in places where no one should have died. Were these desperate acts to appease angry gods, or echoes of a deeper, more primal fear? Outside the palace, the world is changing. The eruption of Thera has left scars that will never heal. Fields once green, with barley now, lie under a blanket of ash. The air tastes of sulfur, and the sun is a pale ghost behind a veil of dust. The people of Crete struggle to rebuild, but the old certainties are gone. Trade falters, ships vanish, and rumors spread of famine, disease, and omens in the sky. Yet, even as disaster looms, the Minoans cling to their traditions. Festivals continue, though the crowds are smaller and the music more somber. In the great courtyard, Dancers leap over the horns of bulls, their bodies twisting in defiance of fate. The priests chant prayers to the goddess, begging for mercy, for rain, for a return to the golden days. But the answers, if they come, are lost in the wind. It is in this time of uncertainty that new threats emerge. Across the sea, the Mycenaeans, warriors from the Greek mainland, watch and wait. They have heard tales of Crete's riches, of palaces filled with gold and secrets. Their own gods are hungry for conquest, and their kings dream of glory. Some say Mycenaean envoys walk the streets of Knossos, their eyes cold and calculating, measuring the weakness of a once great power. Inside the labyrinth, the sense of unease grows. The corridors seem longer, the shadows deeper. Some whisper that the Minotaur still prowls the darkness, a symbol of chaos unleashed. Others believe the real danger comes not from monsters, but from men, ambition, betrayal, and the slow unraveling of trust. The Minoans, once united by faith and prosperity, now find themselves divided by fear. Amidst the turmoil, the mysteries of the Minoans only deepen. The undeciphered script of linear taunts scholars with its silence. What messages did the priests record? Were they prayers, prophecies, or warnings of doom? Some theorists suggest that the Minoans possessed knowledge far beyond their time. Astronomical charts, maps of distant lands, or even technologies lost to history. The labyrinth itself, with its twisting passages and hidden chambers, may have been more than a palace. It could have been a library of secrets, a vault for forbidden wisdom. Legends grow in the absence of answers. Some say the Minoans could control the sea, calling storms or calming waves with sacred rituals. Others claim they built machines powered by the sun, or that they communicated with beings from beyond the stars. The line between history and myth blurs, and every discovery raises new questions. As the months pass, the tension on Crete becomes unbearable. Earthquakes shake the island, and fires break out in the palaces. The people look to their leaders for guidance, but the old ways no longer seem to work. The goddess is silent, the omens are grim, and the future is uncertain. In the darkness, a council gathers. Priests, nobles, and warriors debate the fate of their world. Should they seek alliance with the Mycenaeans or resist to the last? Should they cling to tradition or embrace change? The arguments grow heated and old rivalries resurface. Some advocate for desperate measures, sacrifices, exiles, or even the abandonment of the palaces. Others urge patience, faith, and hope. But outside the walls, the world is moving on. The Mycenaeans grow bolder, sending more ships, more spies. The sea, once a source of wealth and power, now brings only danger. Pirates prowl the waters and storms batter the coast. The people of Crete, once masters of the Aegean, now feel like prisoners in their own land. And yet, in the midst of chaos, the spirit of the Minoans endures. In hidden shrines, the priestesses light candles and whisper prayers to the goddess. In quiet workshops, artisans paint frescoes and shape pottery, preserving the beauty of a world on the brink. In the labyrinth, the echoes of ancient footsteps linger, a reminder that even in darkness, there is memory and perhaps hope. As dawn breaks over the island, the ruins of Knossos glow in the first light. The labyrinth is silent, but the questions remain. What really happened to the Minoans? Was their fall the result of natural disaster, foreign invasion, or something more mysterious? And what secrets still lie buried beneath the stones, waiting for those brave enough to seek them? The journey into the heart of the labyrinth is far from over. The shadows are deepening, and the greatest mysteries are yet to be revealed. The labyrinth of Knossos stands silent, its stones bathed in the pale light of dawn. Yet beneath this silence, a storm brews, one not only of nature, but of human ambition, fear, and the relentless passage of time. The Minoans, once masters of the sea and keepers of secrets, now find themselves at the mercy of forces they cannot control. The world around them is shifting, and the echoes of disaster reverberate through every corridor, every fresco, every whispered prayer to the goddess. In the aftermath of the Thera eruption, Crete is a land transformed. The fields that once shimmered with golden barley are now choked with ash. The rivers run sluggish, poisoned by the fallout. Survivors gather in the shadow of ruined palaces, their faces marked by loss and uncertainty. The old rituals continue, but there is a desperation in the air, a sense that the gods have turned away, or that something even older and darker has awakened beneath the earth. The priestesses of the Mother Goddess, once revered as oracles and healers, now struggle to interpret the omens. The sacred snakes, symbols of renewal and protection, are restless. Some are found dead, others vanish without a trace. In the great halls, the fires burn low, and the songs of celebration are replaced by dirges for the dead. Yet, even as hope fades, the Minoans refuse to surrender to despair. They cling to their traditions, their art, their stories, each a thread in the tapestry of civilization fighting to survive. But the world beyond Crete is watching. The Mycenaeans, sensing weakness, tighten their grip on the trade routes. Their ships, bristling with bronze and ambition, prowl the Aegean like wolves. Spies slip ashore under cover of darkness, gathering intelligence, sowing discord. Some Minoan nobles, desperate to preserve their power, strike secret bargains with these newcomers, trading loyalty for protection, secrets for survival. The unity that once defined the Minoans begins to fracture, and old rivalries flare into open conflict. Within the Labyrinth, the sense of unease grows. Strange phenomena are reported, lights flickering in the depths, voices echoing where none should be, shadows that move against the flow of torchlight. Some say the Minotaur has returned, not as a beast of flesh and blood, but as a curse upon the house of Minos. Others whisper of forbidden rituals, of priests who seek to summon ancient powers to restore the balance, no matter the cost. Archaeologists in the modern era have uncovered tantalizing clues. Hidden chambers sealed for millennia, altars stained with the remnants of unknown substances, frescoes depicting scenes of chaos and transformation. Linear A tablets, still undeciphered, hint at prayers, prophecies, or perhaps warnings, messages from a people on the brink of extinction. The deeper the researchers dig, the more the lines between myth and reality blur. Was the labyrinth merely a palace? Or was it a machine, a device for channeling energies, for communicating with the divine, or for imprisoning something that should never be released? The Minoan elite, sensing the end, turn inward. Some retreat to remote villas, hoarding treasures and knowledge. Others double down on ritual, seeking to appease the goddess with ever more elaborate sacrifices. There are rumors of human offerings, youths and maidens led into the labyrinth, never to return. The people grow restless, their faith tested by suffering and fear. Rebellion simmers beneath the surface as commoners question the wisdom of their rulers and the silence of their gods. Meanwhile, the Mycenaeans press their advantage. They launch raids on coastal settlements, capturing slaves and plundering what remains of Minoan wealth. Their warriors, clad in gleaming bronze, are both feared and envied. Some Minoans resist, fighting with the ferocity of the desperate. Others capitulate, hoping to survive by serving new masters. The once great navy of Crete is scattered, its ships sunk or seized, its sailors lost to the sea. Yet, even as the world collapses around them, the Minoans leave behind a legacy of wonder. Their art, more vivid than ever, depicts not only the beauty of life, but the terror of its loss. Frescoes show storms raging over the sea, bulls charging through flames, priestesses weeping beneath a blood-red moon. Pottery shards bear cryptic symbols, perhaps spells or curses meant to protect what little remains. In the ruins of Knossos, a final festival is held, a desperate attempt to invoke the favor of the goddess, to turn back the tide of fate. The night of the festival is electric with tension. Torches line the courtyards, casting long shadows on the walls. Dancers leap and spin, their movements frantic, almost wild. The priests chant ancient hymns, their voices rising in a crescendo of hope and fear. Offerings are made: grain, honey, wine, and, some say, blood. The air is thick with incense and the unspoken knowledge that this may be the last celebration of a dying world. As the festival reaches its climax, a storm breaks over the island. Thunder shakes the palace, and lightning illuminates the labyrinth in flashes of ghostly blue. Some claim to see figures moving in the darkness, shapes that are not entirely human, eyes that gleam with otherworldly light. The wind howls through the corridors, carrying with it the voices of the past, the cries of the lost, the laughter of gods and monsters. In the aftermath, the palace is left in ruins. Fires smolder in the courtyards, and the survivors wander the halls in shock. The goddess remains silent, her statues toppled or defaced. The Mycenaeans move in, claiming the remnants of Minoan glory for themselves. The Labyrinth, once the heart of a vibrant civilization, becomes a tomb, a place of shadows and secrets, haunted by the memories of those who dared to challenge the gods. But the story does not end here. The legend of Atlantis, born from the ashes of Crete, spreads across the ancient world. Plato, centuries later, will write of a mighty empire destroyed in a single day and night, its wisdom lost to the sea. Scholars and dreamers will search for the lost city, tracing its echoes in the ruins of Knossos, the depths of the Mediterranean, and the myths of every culture touched by the Minoan legacy. Modern explorers, armed with technology undreamed of by the ancients, continue the quest. Sonar scans reveal strange shapes beneath the waves. Excavations uncover artifacts that defy explanation, tools of unknown purpose, metals that should not exist, carvings that hint at knowledge long forgotten. Some theorists suggest that the Minoans were not merely victims of disaster, but custodians of secrets too dangerous to survive. Did they possess a technology, a wisdom, or a power that threatened the order of the world? Did they choose to vanish, to hide their greatest treasures where none could find them? The questions multiply, each more tantalizing than the last. What was the true purpose of the labyrinth? Was it a prison, a temple, or a gateway to another realm? What became of the last priestesses, the last kings, the last children of Crete? And could it be that, somewhere beneath the waves, the heart of Atlantis still beats, waiting for those bold enough to seek it? As the sun rises over the ruins, the shadows retreat, but the mysteries remain. The labyrinth is silent, but its secrets are not lost. They are merely waiting, patient as the sea, for the next generation of seekers to enter its depths. The journey is far from over. The greatest revelations and the darkest truths still lie ahead. The ruins of Knossos lie silent beneath the relentless Mediterranean sun. Stones once alive with color and music now stand as silent witnesses to a vanished world. Yet, even in their stillness, they seem to pulse with memory, a memory of a civilization that danced on the edge of myth and reality, that rose to dazzling heights and then vanished, leaving only riddles in its wake. As the Mycenaeans take control of Crete, the last echoes of the Minoan age fade into legend. The palaces are looted, the sacred groves abandoned, the labyrinth sealed by time and dust. The new rulers bring their own gods, their own customs, but something of the old magic lingers in the air. The people whisper of the goddess who once ruled the island, of the rituals performed in secret, of the treasures and secrets hidden deep within the earth. Centuries pass. The world changes. Empires rise and fall, and the memory of the Minoans becomes a shadow, a story told by poets and dreamers. Yet, the legend refuses to die. In the writings of Plato, the tale of Atlantis emerges, a mighty civilization destroyed in a single day and night, its wisdom lost to the sea. Scholars debate the origins of the story, tracing its roots to the ruins of Crete, to the cataclysm of Thera, to the Labyrinth and the Bull. But the mystery only deepens. Modern archaeologists, armed with technology undreamed of by the ancients, return to Crete in search of answers. They uncover frescoes of impossible beauty, artifacts of exquisite craftsmanship, and tablets inscribed with a language no one can read. They find evidence of disaster, ash layers, shattered pottery, skeletons buried in haste. Yet, for every question answered, a dozen more arise. What was the true nature of a labyrinth? Was it a palace, a temple, a prison, or something more? Did the Minoans possess knowledge lost to history, secrets of navigation, astronomy, or even technology that defies explanation? Was their downfall the result of natural disaster, foreign invasion, or a crisis of faith and identity? And what of the goddess, the Lady of the Labyrinth? Was she merely a symbol or the guardian of a power too great for mortals to wield? Theories abound. Some suggest the Minoans were the first great seafarers, mapping the stars and charting the currents long before the Greeks or Phoenicians. Others believe they were the custodians of a lost wisdom passed down from even older civilizations, perhaps even from Atlantis itself. There are those who claim the labyrinth was a machine, a device for harnessing the energies of the earth, or a gateway to other realms. And there are whispers, always whispers, of rituals performed in darkness, of bargains struck with gods or beings from beyond the stars. Yet, for all the speculation, the truth remains elusive. The Minoans left no chronicles, no epic poems, no histories carved in stone. Their script, linear, remains undeciphered, a silent testament to a world we can glimpse but never fully enter. Their art, their architecture, their myths, all are fragments of a puzzle whose solution may be forever out of reach. But perhaps that is the greatest mystery of all. The story of the Minoans, like the labyrinth itself, is not meant to be solved, but experienced. It is a journey into the heart of the unknown, a dance between light and shadow, memory and forgetting. It is a reminder that history is not a straight line, but a maze, a place where every answer leads to new questions and every discovery reveals deeper layers of wonder. As the sun sets over Crete, the sea glows with the colors of fire and blood. Fishermen cast their nets, and children play among the ruins, unaware of the ghosts that watch from the shadows. Somewhere beneath the waves, the heart of Atlantis may still beat, waiting for those bold enough to seek it. And so, the legend endures. The Minoans, with their labyrinths and goddesses, their vanished glory and unsolved riddles, remain one of the greatest enigmas of the ancient world. Their story is not over. It is only sleeping, waiting for the next dreamer, the next seeker, the next voice to call it back into the light. Will we ever truly know what happened to the Minoans? Or will their secrets remain forever hidden, lost in the labyrinth of time? The journey continues. The mystery endures. And somewhere in the silence between the waves and the stones, the past still whispers, calling us to listen, to wonder, and to never stop searching.